Do you know where the concept of a teenager was born? So, it was born in the US in the 1950s. Do you know the historical context of the things that were happening in the world at that moment? So, in the US, right after World War II, they had a lot of money. And they had like a lot of money. And the reason why they had a lot of money is because they were lending a lot of money to the countries in Europe after the destruction of all the countries in World War II. So in the US, because they had so much money, this is just my hypothesis, but that's just the way it is in my opinion, man. They had so much money that they needed to find ways to sell more. And then they came up with the concept of a teenager. They had so much money to spend and so much money to spare in the US that they literally, they literally invented like a whole new segment to sell things to attack with all kinds of marketing strategies. They created teenagers, bro. And all of this was happening during the cradle and the epitome of capitalism. I don't know if I said that word correctly. I don't know if whatever, man. The epitome of capitalism. Do you know what this means, bro? The concept of a teenager was born for consumerists. It was born to make people consume more, especially the people in that age segment, teenagers. So having that in mind, having the fact that the concept of a teenager was born only to make more money to all of those company owners and CEOs. It was born for that. It was born to make you consume. Try to connect that to the concept of a teenager today and the things that they are telling you to do with your free time as a teenager and what you're supposed to do to enjoy your youth as a teenager. Think about it for a second, man. Like back in the day in the 1950s, they were telling like teenagers to just enjoy their youth, man. But what were the things that they were promoting and that they were telling the teenagers to enjoy their youth doing? They were all things related to consumerist culture, man. They were just telling them to consume things, man. Going to the movies, going on parties every weekend where they spend money not only on clothes, man, the clothes that they're going to use for the parties, but also on alcohol and all kinds of drugs. They were telling teenagers to play video games because that's just normal. And you got to buy video games. And now if you think about it in today's society, they tell teenagers that it's normal to be on Instagram, to be on TikTok, to be on Facebook, on Pornhub, watching porn and masturbating and doing all of those things that are so bad for you, but that have been promoted for almost 100 years now. What do you think that those things are? The things or the way in which they make money through Instagram and social media and all that kind of stuff, and you probably know this already, but they make money through ads. So they show you ads whenever you are on Instagram or TikTok or Pornhub. So all of those things are you consuming and that are considered normal as a teenager are things that are related to you consuming something or to you being more likely to consume something in the future through ads. And to all of those guys that told me that like, oh yeah, going to parties and all that kind of stuff, it's normal as a teenager. Like, you're right about that, but you're not right about being on Instagram and all that kind of stuff as a teenager and watching porn. And that, after modern standards, is not considered enjoying your youth. Like, that's a fair point, but at the same time, I really disagree with that. Like, for example, I remember that almost 2 years now, I think that a year and a half or something like that ago, I went to therapy. And the reason why I went to therapy is because I really, really wanted to stop watching porn. I wanted to stop masturbating. And you know what my psychologist told me when I told him that I didn't want to keep doing that? He told me that it was normal. Do you see what I'm talking about now? He told me that it was normal to masturbate, to fab watching a man take another woman and a screen when you're not even being part of it. That it was normal. That's what he told me. The world is so fucked up right now that even a psychologist is gonna tell you that. So all of those things are considered normal. And they are considered just part of being young. Part of just enjoying your youth, man. Haha. Just go and go drink every weekend, bro. It's normal. All of those things are considered normal, bro. Do you realize that? And yet, you still can't overcome all of those addictions that you have, man. How does that make you feel? Now that you know that all of those things are just marketing strategies and that they're not even good for you in the first place. Because they are not, man, and you probably already know that. I don't have to tell you that. You probably are like no fap and you watch all of those kind of videos telling you how in day 90 you're gonna levitate. Day 90 of no fap you're gonna levitate and all that kind of stuff, man. But like, you really are part of this. But what I'm here to tell you is not just to demonize you for doing those things or to ridicule you for doing those things, because I'm not gonna do that. And the reason why I'm not gonna do that is because I was in the same place just 2 years ago before I found self-improvement. I was there, man, 2 years ago. And it was so embarrassing. It is even embarrassing to tell you this right now, man. Do you know what my worst habit was? And the habit that took me the most to get rid of? And it's probably the same for you, man. It was fapping. It was watching porn. And for everyone, it is like at different times. For a lot of people, it is like right before bed, right after waking up and all that kind of stuff. For me, it was every single time I got home, like I arrived home after work or school or university or whatever, I had to fap. And bro, that was just for years. For years I did that. And every single time I had to study, guess what I did, man? I fapped instead of studying. Yeah, that's what I did if you were wondering what is it that I did. You know, I was one of those weird guys that just... And this is really embarrassing, man. I'm not even lying about this. You might be thinking that I'm just saying this for the video, but I don't know if you can see it, but I'm really embarrassed about this. But I was one of those guys that played porn games. Yeah, man, it is so fucking embarrassing. I also used to just be one of those guys that watches cam girls. You know, the ones that like Andrew Tate controls and all that kind of shit, man. Yeah, I used to watch all those all the time, man. Especially when I had to study. Like, I really created that habit. So what I'm trying to say with this is that I've been there, man. I've been where you are right now. Like, I was addicted to all of those things. I was a normal teenager back then, man. But what I'm trying to show you in this video is just what's on the other side of the fence. Of the wall, if you might. And that is to enjoy your life through self-improvement. To enjoy your life by just being a witness of your own progress in life. Because in my opinion, man, that's the ultimate way to enjoy your youth and to enjoy your teenage years. There's no such thing as enjoying alcohol, as enjoying weed. I used to do all of that shit and I was never happy. In fact, and this is just a scientific fact I'm going to throw, when you consume alcohol or weed or any of those things, what you create is a cycle, and you probably knew this already, but it is a cycle of cortisol. So whenever you drink, your cortisol will go down when you drink, but when you are not drinking, your cortisol is going to be up during all week. And what this hormone, cortisol, does is that it just makes you more stressed and your mental health is worse. That's all you need to know. So when you're doing those things, you're literally fucking up your life. Science says so. The experience says so. And not only mine, but like the one of just so many other guys that you see, man. Self-improvement and not necessarily self-improvement as a concept of meditating and journaling and doing all of those things, but just growing. It's the way to enjoy your youth. The last point I'm going to make is that you never really wanted to be like everyone else in the first place. You never wanted to be like them. So why would you do the same thing that all of those people are doing, that all of those people are promoting in the first place? Why would you do that? I think it's kind of obvious, bro, that if you do the same thing everyone else is doing, you're gonna end up in the same spot everyone else is. You can just know this by looking around, man. And this is not by being hateful or something like that. And I know that you're not hateful. You're probably not, man. You're probably more humble than that. But you're not looking at people with hateful eyes, being arrogant and just looking down on everyone. But you kind of like see the lives of the people around you, kind of like established adults. And you notice that you don't want their life. And guess what, man? Those people that you see around, those lives that you don't want, they are the same people that are telling you to enjoy your youth in modern ways and modern standards. Just drinking every weekend, going to parties and playing more video games and doing like teenage shit, right? And then they find it weird when you just start being more disciplined and fully focusing on your goals and your growth and progress. They find it weird. Just stop following these people's advice. I'm not necessarily telling you to follow mine, but what I do know and what I can tell you is that self-improvement changed my life. And I like enjoyed my teenagers, man. Like from 14 to 18, all I did was go to parties and drink and smoke weed and just have fun. And you know when it is that I've had the most fun in my life? When I've enjoyed life the most. You guessed it right, bro. It has been through self-improvement ever since I started this journey. Don't keep wasting time, man. So start your self-improvement journey now. So the Bahai, man. We both know you can.